Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
The model that she gave me, she knew was going to be the principal model in the film.
Did you know it was going to be the principal model in the film?
I knew it was going to be the principal model, Your Honor, but I did not know that he was not going to use CGI.
In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. You want him to pay $628?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, knock my socks off. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. The law talks about something may in fact be true, but can they prove it? And that's what's tough.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Set designer Melissa Toledo thought filmmaker Andrew Wagner would return her film set in good condition. However, when it was returned, it had been damaged by fire. Ms. Toledo is suing Mr. Wagner in the amount of $500. Mr. Wagner claims the set had normal wear and tear, and the plaintiff knew he was using the set for a horror movie with an explosion.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Third, get up at it, Thomas. You built a model and it got destroyed, and now you want Mr. Wagner to pay for it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Talk to me about this model.
Well, this model is one of a lot of Victorian models that I have.
Okay. This is your thing, creating these models.
Yes. My father, he was a set designer.
Okay.
So he passed that knowledge down to me, and I've been building sets for a long time.
And what's your relationship with Mr. Wagner?
We met in college.
Okay. And you are also in the industry?
Yes, sir, I am.
And exactly what is it? Are you writer, director, producer, jack of all trades?
Well, Your Honor, I don't like to pigeonhole myself, but directing and producing is my strong suit. In fact, the film that we're talking about today actually just won a couple awards at a couple different festivals.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. And yeah, I would say directing.
The effect that you were trying to convey, the audience
Yes.
responded.
Well, let's put it this way.
Yes, sir.
Miss Toledo knows. I've known her since college. Anybody that knows me knows I like things to blow up. I like the kaboom. I like the craziness. I like to freak people out.
Now, see, when someone says I like to blow up, I'm thinking, you want to be blown up in terms of your stature.
Well,
and
I wouldn't mind that, Your Honor. I wouldn't mind it.
You wouldn't mind that.
Right.
But what we're talking about is things actually being torn apart.
Right. And, well, to be honest, Your Honor.
And that is your genre that you focus on, sir?
Yeah, so, well, horror, thrillers, things like that, which usually, the explosions lend a good, a good setting for
and
those
the two
type
of you have
films.
known each other for a while, so you are familiar with the type of work he does and what happens.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were yet still comfortable giving something that you created to him.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
I was comfortable because we have a written agreement. Your Honor.
Smart woman. Let me see that written agreement.
Here it is.
And as you're giving that to Deputy Thomas, don't take
yes.
anything else? Just give him the...
Also, there's
He doesn't
a
like to
photo.
go back and forth. That's not his
Okay.
jam. All right. All right. And the agreement here, and Mr. Wagner, you're not disputing that you signed some sort of written agreement.
No, sir.
What was your understanding of what the agreement was, sir?
Well, my understanding from the agreement was I finally had an opportunity to help out an old friend. I like helping these younger artists. And
How
all
were
that.
you helping her?
Well, it was to get her credit. It was to get her to have multiple eyes of important filmmakers.
Credit in terms of screen credit showing that she contributed to the set.
Yes.
All right,
And
that was your primary objective.
And the ability for her to put it on a resume.
Okay. Your primary objective was, I tell you what, you help me out, I'll make sure you get credit, you'll be able to put it on your resume, and that was it.
Exactly,
All right.
yes.
And then the contract here says that you are, in fact, borrowing this scaled, because the set is a scaled down version.
Yes, sir.
But if you're watching it, you're thinking that it's maybe an actual town, when really it's just a dimensional. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. You said you're borrowing it for use involving a horror movie. You indicated it would be returned in a timely and appropriate manner.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that you would give her credit for set design in the film and in the credits at any and all film festivals. Both of you signed and dated.
Yes.
This is the model that we're talking about.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So is that the before and after?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Explain to me what is it that I'm looking at that would cause me to conclude that there was a breach in the contract.
The picture on the left, Your
Yes,
Honor, is completely lighter than the picture on the right.
It is lighter.
Yes, and
Okay.
there are burn marks that were covered with a darker paint by the
Okay,
defendant
on the
here.
right side, you're saying that some aspects of the model were burned.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Wagner, what say you, sir?
Well, Your Honor, we did repaint the home.
Why did you repaint it?
Well, I actually have some evidence here of the
Take a look at that.
storyboard.
Just tell me, what is it that you did? Did we go boom? Did we go kaboom? Did
No,
we go
you know, we could have
pow?
gone.
Did
We could have gone boom. We
zowie?
could have gone
What did we do?
kapow. We could have gone slammaroonie. I don't care what you say.
Uh-huh.
We didn't. We decided just to light it on fire.
You went easy on it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this some sort of storyboard that you've given me?
Yes, and if you see on the last slide on the bottom right, that house is in fact on fire.
Okay.
The model that she gave me, she knew was going to be the principal model in the film. It shows.
Well, let's find that out. Did you know it was going to be the principal model in the film and that the principal model was going to be set ablaze?
I knew it was going to be the principal model, Your
Okay.
Honor, but I did not know that he was not going to use CGI.
Coming up on America's Court.
All I wanted to do was to give her the ability to use this set. She knew I never used CGI.
And later,
Were you aware of the actual date of the party?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that it was an outdoor garden party?
No.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of set designer Melissa Toledo, who is suing filmmaker Andrew Wagner for $500.
I know what CGI is, but let's make sure everyone's on the same page here.
Okay.
The CGI is when it looks like it's sort of digitally enhanced, or when
Exactly.
people use
Computer
Yes.
green screens, things like that. You thought it was going to all be not actually performed on the model, but that the
Exactly.
effects would be added
Yes.
through the use of the computer.
That's exactly what I
And was there a
Oh.
conversation about that? Because it's not listed in the contract, CGI.
No. There was no conversation, and I feel if you
Well, I'm saying, whose idea was it to have a contract?
that was his idea actually.
I like to keep everything in order. I
All
like
right,
to make
then
sure.
why not include on here, use of this model will not include CGI effects?
It's just not how I do things. I mean,
that's a
call me
problem.
incorrect. Maybe I should
Well,
start
because if
doing
someone
it.
is designing sets and they say you can have my set and have at it, that's one thing. But if someone says I'm going to borrow your set,
Right.
then the inference, if you're the one who came up with the terminology, you say borrow, that means I'm going to return it in the condition that I received it.
Right.
Why wouldn't you tailor the contract to your advantage?
Well, I don't like to be shady. I don't want to try to get an advantage.
Too late.
Yeah.
I don't want to try to come out with an advantage. All I wanted to do was to give her the ability to use this set. She knew I never used CGI.
The issue here is, if there's a meeting of the mind, if I say here, and you say I'm borrowing this, then I'm expecting at the end, you're going to say here.
Right.
And what I gave you is what I'm expecting to see.
Exactly.
We don't have that here.
You know, I had talked about the film with her in depth. I had let her know. Like I said, she knew me, but I also had painted a picture for her.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
when
thought
you
she
say
knew.
she knew you, given your history with him and knowing the type of work he does, were you that surprised?
Actually, I was, because I've seen a few of his films, and I don't believe in this authenticity thing that he has going, that he does everything natural and he blows up things realistically. I've seen
Because
some CGI.
I would
in his
imagine
films.
if, I don't know, and I haven't seen the actual final product, but every scene is not something being blown up, is it?
Exactly.
No.
I mean, there's just some scenes that you just need a visual, and maybe, there may be 2 or 3, but if this is the principal focal point of the story, and you don't make that clear, because ultimately what happened, it's not like it's completely destroyed. You can fix it, right?
It's very hard to fix. I would have to rebuild the entire set because it's burnt.
You're saying I want to be compensated for not getting back what I am entitled to.
Yes.
And he gave you the credits.
He did not. That was the agreement. We were supposed to honor each other as
Well, wait a
creative
minute.
partners, and he was
I
supposed
thought you
to
said
put me
your
in the
primary
credits.
focus was so she could add this to her resume and she would have credit. You didn't give her the credit?
Right. So this was simply an oversight.
Got it. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel was going to come down in favor of the plaintiff. You breached the agreement. You didn't return it the way it should have been returned. You didn't give her the credit. And you were being quite shady. $500 is your judgment. Case closed.
you.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $500.
Honestly, I went into this with the best intentions. I tried to give her a big break in the film industry, and it blew up in my face. Kaboom.
Well, my set was ruined, but I'm glad I can finally move forward with the money that the judge awarded me.
And coming up,
Were you aware of the actual date of the party?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that it was an outdoor garden party?
No.
closed captioning provided by
Ready to take control of your back pain? New Icy Hot Lidocaine Patch.
Desensitizes aggravated nerves with the max strength lidocaine available.
New Icy Hot Lidocaine Patch.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Rose Morris planned to have a huge fundraiser party, but her plans were ruined when her lawn was fertilized. Ms. Morris is suing her gardener, Ted Rodriguez, in the amount of $1,500. Mr. Rodriguez claims he told the plaintiff it was time to fertilize her lawn at their quarterly community meeting, and it was her fault that she didn't specify which day he wasn't allowed to work.
This fertilizer came at not the greatest of a time.
That's right, Your Honor.
Talk to me about what ended up happening.
All right. Well, I started my career as a lobbyist, and I've been working for a very long time to present...
Very long time. What are you, 20?
That's very kind of you. No, for about 15 years.
Okay.
Working on presenting events that raise money for political campaigns as well as raise money for nonprofits.
Lobbyists do pretty well if you're in the right circle.
That's right, yes.
And you've been doing pretty well with the lobbying.
And we raise a lot of money for very important causes as well.
Okay.
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez, what's your story, sir?
Well, my father has since handed me over the business, and I've worked in the business with him.
And the business involves...
Landscaping.
It's landscaping, from what I recall. And wasn't there some sort of pre-existing deal with your dad doing the landscaping for the community, and now you're taking it over? I mean,
That's correct. So he has the contract for the neighborhood that we live in.
Okay.
So when he gave the business to myself...
Turn the reins over to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
And you've been up to the challenge?
As best I can.
All right. But there was a problem.
That's right.
Okay.
Mr. Rodriguez, who I've always trusted and felt was a good employee and a kind next-door neighbor, actually. And we also attend community meetings together.
All right. But you were raising money for particular candidates.
A huge candidate, yes.
Huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see that. Huge.
It was an amazingly large event. I raised over 6 figures to produce this event, and we had decorations, caterers, everything organized. It was such a large candidate that actually the Secret Service was involved.
Okay, and why do I need to know that?
Well, I had to basically cancel the event at my house.
When did this take place?
This was last March.
So it was in March. Were you aware of this, Mr. Rodriguez?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Why was the fertilizer put on the lawn so close in time to her event?
Well, I have some evidence here.
Yes, I want to see that. And while you're showing me that evidence, tell me, what was the deal with the fertilizer?
So, as a gardener, it is my job to make sure that everyone's lawns look fantastic, especially for the summer when everyone's going to be having barbecues and whatnot. And we like to get the fertilizer down the beginning of spring. So, as that says...
And spring is around March.
Correct.
And that's something that you were aware of.
Yes.
All right. You sent out a community flyer.
I didn't, but it's on the community flyer. Whoever puts that out, we just make sure.
Oh, this is just the neighborhood community flyer,
Correct.
but it's indicated here that sometime around February, March, you're going to be putting down fertilizer.
Yeah, and I just want to get the head start going on.
And you do this on a regular basis?
Every year.
So this is not anything new to you?
Oh, no. I knew he would be doing this around the time.
All right.
However...
And hadn't you given parties before?
Oh, yes, I have. I've been leading up to this large of a party.
Okay. Was there never an issue of, don't put the fertilizer down because I'm getting ready to have guests and I don't want there to be any issues?
Absolutely. I made that very clear at the meeting in January. We meet together as a community, and I let them know that the event was happening in March.
All right. And the issue was what? You didn't want to have the event because of the smell?
It was prohibitive. I absolutely couldn't.
It was prohibitive?
Yes, sir. I couldn't have all those people come paying $500 a plate and have that smell. I mean, I could barely step outside.
How long does the smell typically last? Because you would concede that when you first put down fertilizer, it stinks.
Oh, yeah, no,
right?
it's pretty bad the first couple days.
Yeah.
Coming up on America's Court.
Were you aware of the actual date of the party?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that it was an outdoor garden party?
No.
Closed captioning provided by... This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Rose Morris, who is suing her gardener Ted Rodriguez for $1,500.
Where does the $1,500 come from?
Well, I have some evidence as well, Your
Show
Honor.
me. Yes, I'd like to see that. And you have a witness. Who is this witness?
I do, yes. This is our neighbor.
Ma'am, come on up. And your name?
Your Honor, my name is Maxine Drexel.
Ms. Drexel, why are you here? How do you help me resolve this issue?
I'm here because Rose and Ted have been my neighbors for years.
Describe the smell when it's put down.
Oh my gosh, it's just unbearable.
Oh my
you
gosh,
don't want to
it's
go
just
outside.
horrible.
It's just so stinky.
It's just stinky and pungent.
It's horrible.
And then the grass becomes green and beautiful and lush, and the flowers and everything goes in cycles, and it's Hakuna Matata.
It
right?
makes the lawns look great,
Okay.
I admit. But
it
for a
looks
garden
great,
party,
but during that period of time, it's a little uncomfortable.
Yes, and especially for a garden party, it's absolutely unacceptable.
And for a garden party, it would just be prohibitive, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Did you go to the party?
I did. It was fantastic. It was just...
Well, wait a minute. Okay, wait. The party was fantastic. Why was it so fantastic?
Well, Rose always does a fabulous job of hosting these events, and it was just incredible. The people that were attending were very important people.
So then there's no harm, no foul.
She had to pull this off in just a few days. She had to switch venues. You know, this new venue was twice as big as her house. She had to buy twice as many decorations. And
okay, well, she can testify to that. Ultimately, what you're saying is the party was moved, it was great.
Yes.
But the smell was pretty bad.
The smell was bad in our neighborhood, and that's why we had to move it to a new venue.
Got it. Mr. Rodriguez, were you aware of the actual date of the party?
I was aware there was a party around that time.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that it was an outdoor garden party?
No.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel has to come down in favor of the defendant. Unfortunately, ma'am, you're going to have to absorb that cost. Your matter's dismissed. Case closed.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I'm glad Judge Ross was able to see through all the silliness and see that I'm just a guy trying to do his landscaping job. Now we can all go back to our lives.
I know that Ted intentionally sabotaged my party. He didn't like the candidate, and he had a crush on me, and I turned him down. This ruling was not fair.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.